Well, hello folks, it's the 30th of April 2025. I'm going to take a little look at this pipeline way back in the woods here, where it's kind of originating. Here they're bringing it through, and here as well. Have a lot of work to go straight down Parkview to the east. But they've been doing some real work on it right here. You've seen a week and a half ago where I come along here and made the video and the big pipe was laying out on the ground. It's a gas pipe. It's a main gas pipe. We don't really know if this is going to be an extension for some heavy industry out here, but I did hear that field that I had mentioned and showed you there in the past, that there was a large manufacturer looking at moving operations and building there on that site. So this could be, infrastructure to support that. That'd be some good news. Not mentioning any names until I see it mentioned, we'll say for real. Okay, I'll be right back. We're going to park over here across the street, walk through the woods. Okay, over here in the park, sit there and take a little look here where Chime Elementary School was last year. It was razed to the ground, and they're building the new Central Kalamazoo School District kitchen here, where the food will be prepared in the central kitchen and then delivered around to all the schools for lunch, breakfast, and so on. Right through here was our access, walking access to the trail, straight back here. As you can see, now it's gas pipes, and they're running that all along the trail and under the ground here and over across the street to where we were just a minute ago. You can see them down there working on that gas pipe. I'll be right back. There's signs all around there showing that the trail is temporarily closed. There's been a lot of clearing back here. Man, there's been a lot of clearing. I wonder if this is part of improvements to the park. They're clearing the underbrush along here or what. But we're going to walk back here. There's also a barricade. Maybe the whole darn trail is closed. I don't know why. Out here in this big open field, have calm conditions out, they generally will have 2 or 3 or even more hot air balloons ascend, giving rides. This is where they launch from, and they generally drift to the east and set down wherever. The building that's there straight ahead is a funeral home. This is really nice. They have 2 T-ball stadiums right here, T-ball fields. I think that's pretty cool. 99 feet. Put one over the fence. All right. And they play soccer out here. And I mean, they do play soccer, and it's you can see the goals over here in the distance, and 9th Street corridor right there. Let's walk along here, see what's going on. It does appear that they cleared out quite a bit of these vines and this invasive species back here choking these trees off. You can see hanging from the trees. It's all been taken out of here and cleaned up. trail's open. Over there where those workers were welding or cleaning that gas pipe, there were some large vines, bigger than your forearm, circling up the trees like this one. And so I got to get back in there and take some pictures one of these days. And I waited just too darn long. But I've not been down here yet, so we still may find some. A little trail running back this way. Trails are marked, half one. A little place over here in the woods, you can see, you can go back there and have a seat. Trail goes on beyond it. I can see. I want to go back here. I don't know, but what that might mean. Foot trail number 1. Pretty thick and getting thicker. Interesting fungus growing on the tree right here. Tree is dead. Seems to be a little bit more of that back here. Fresh cut. Yeah, quite a bit of fresh cut trees there. Nice little pine. Trying to get its share of the sun. All right. Let's get back in here deeper. Here's a fair example of one of those vines. You can see it coming out of the ground. Now again, I've seen these 8 inches in diameter. See how it comes out of the ground? Serpentines around like a boa. Works its way up into the tree. Serpentines around, you can see it going high all the way up into the treetop and all around, killing the tree. Well, that's still alive, but the tree is dead. Now here's a tree that's been cut down. It's a pine, and it's been there for a while. And you can see at the base, there's one of the vines, and then you can see how it's wrapped its way up that tree. Okay? And over here as well, right out of the ground, it's wrapping like a snake right around there. And that actually has bark on it. You can see these vines have bark on them, just like the tree itself. They are hard things to get rid of. You can see how as they work their way up. Here's one right here. They've cut it off, and you can see the vine is actually weeping. And here it is coming out of the ground where they cut it off. There's another section over here, and it goes up, weaves all up into the branches, high into the tree. You can see ropes of it, lassos of it up there, all hanging down. They've cut some more of it here to try to kill it. Be right back. This hasn't been cut for very long. It's leaking right now as we speak. See the drips? Another example, come up out of the ground. These have been severed. They move up into the trees and kill them. And these vines, these snaky boa vines, are all around here. See them? Killing all these trees. All around. Again, right here, they've cut some cut some off. I don't know if that's a burrow or not. And see again, they severed these. You can see the, get up here a little closer. Here's my hand on this one. Now, this is bark, man. This is, it's unbelievable. That's a medium-sized one. It is freaky looking back here with all these. They're everywhere. The deeper we go back in here, the more there are. Yeah, that's really freaky. One just hanging here like a snake in the jungle, just hanging out of the tree after it's killed it. More back here. Everything you see in here is dead. Some of these trees you can see still have some life. They're greening up, okay? But most of these, any of these that have these vines, are dead. Right back. Here's an extra large one coming out of the ground. It's been severed, but look at the looping going way up into the trees, crisscrossing over into the tree next to it and killing it as well. Right there, side by side. Here's a little wishbone tree. It's been killed by the vines. Here's quite a little pocket right here. Look at how those serpentine up. Killed that tree. But there's a bigger one next to it over here. Right out of the ground. Look at the ones over here. I don't want to get over there. These are all briars. And we might have a little snake issue. It's just about that time. I'm watching every step I take. But look at the size of those, twisting all the way up that tree. Those are the biggest ones I've seen in here yet. I have been looking for morel mushrooms as well as I walk along. Haven't seen anything. We need this good rain. Need a little rain here and a warm day afterwards. And it better come pretty quick. The mushroom season will be about over. Well, here's the pipeline. I'll be right back. Yep, this is the pipeline. They've come a long ways. And it goes all the way down. Both sides right there. There's pipes on both sides of the street. Or this access. I had heard this used to be a railway right away. And the tracks were taken up years ago. It looked good to me. It had, you could see that underballast where they, like the, very reminiscent of the Calhaven Trail. And they may have been right, but it's not like that anymore. All right, I'll be right back. I can't get over there any closer, but they have excavated out quite a pit right there. Just this side of that excavator might be one of the points that they're pulling this underground, the connection points, a feed point or something. Who knows? Yeah, take one more look at this. That's really something. That's really something. Think of what it's like down in Central America. I know this much. I wouldn't be wearing the same shirt or hat, pants or socks, or even close to the same footgear. And I surely would not be carrying a camera in my hand. That's all I can tell you about that. This is beautiful weather. Right in, it's 60 degrees. Little breeze, but the storms are on their way, they say. I selected the high road of F1 to come in here. I'm selecting the low road of F1 to return. You never know what you're gonna see. Oh, there's a Brinks pouch full of $100 bills. Well, that just got me a $5,000 reward. I'll take it. That's everybody's question. We were even asked that in sociology, criminology class in senior year in high school. Junior year in high school. What would you do? You're walking through the woods and found a big canvas Brinks bag, bank bag, with a brown leather bottom and the top with straps over it, buckled shut, weigh about 45 pounds, and you open it up and it's just packed tight with stacks of $100 bills, $10,000 bands. What would you do with it? What would you do with it? Even though there's a padlock on it, that's just canvas. You open that up with a kitchen knife, pretty much. You get into it within a minute. So it's not a barrier. What would you do? 45 pounds of $100 bills, I think, is tapping on the door of a mill. I think 71 pounds is something like, I think that's 1.3 or something like I read years ago. Here's some more of the vines there. But the correct thing, even though, say there was $1 million in that bag, and it's untraceable, right? Well, this one's really roped around there. Look at the serpentine action here, going way up into this tree and killing it. Half that tree is dead. Yep. You have $1 million and go have a good time. You know, if you did it right, nobody would really know. That's a whole nother story how you do that. Not going to get into that. But you'd have that on your mind, on your conscience every day of your life. Is that worth $1 million? Is it watch and go, say you went to the track and you put $100,000 down on a horse and lost, and you're sitting there, man, you know, and you're just smiling because you've got 900 more to go, you know. And then you sit there and maybe you get ill, okay, but you don't have much of that left, and so you're kind of on the economy, so to speak. You're sitting there going, man, did I mess up? I wonder if I would have turned that in, if karma, if you believe in that kind of thing, would have been different. And you start thinking about, man, they were offering a $5,000 tax-free reward. I could have had that $5,000 and walked the rest of my life carrying my head high and nothing on my mind, sleeping every night. Okay? And our teacher opened it up for discussion on the floor, and at least half of the kids says, I wouldn't have any problem. Show me the bag. It would not bother. They said that wouldn't bother them one bit the rest of their life. They'd be glad to have it. The rest kids said, as I did too, I'd turn it in. I don't want to go to jail. There's a chance the story has a tweak to it. Nobody's telling you. About one of these days you take that in and you don't hear about the cash amount that they have to report when you go to pay cash for something, and you go in and buy that new Cadillac for $15,000 and lay a band and a half down on the counter, and they have to do paperwork. And then somebody comes and taps you on your door at your house and says, exactly, where'd you get this money? Okay? Goes on and on. Nope, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that sitting there in your cell. Well, that's a federal crime, so you'd be in a federal joint, you do a little less time there. They got better store and larger TVs. You can get good footgear in there too. You're going to be locked up at least 7 or 8 years, and for something like that. First offense, they might slap you a little less. If you had a weapon, they'll slap you a little more. Minimum of 2 years. So it's, stupido. Take the $5,000 and you get your name in the front page of the Gazette. Your family will be proud of you. Anybody in your family that may have a little, history or issue, you just honored them and made your whole family look great. But I couldn't believe half those kids they don't know. And a couple of them came from business families too. It made me wonder. Be right back. I can remember one of the young ladies in my class raised her hand and asked our teacher, Mrs. Wagner, Schoolcraft High School, what if you found 2 bags? She said, would you receive $5,000 per bag? Mrs. Wagner said, that's a good question. Another student raised her hand and said, just in case you didn't need to ask any questions, turn one in, get $5,000. A couple days later, turn the other one in. Everybody was laughing. I was laughing. I said, all right then. Isn't that what he must have been he would go to college and be a business major or something, right? Right back. We had a student in the class. He's my friend to this day. And I can mention any names, but he had relatives in law enforcement and arranged to have a professional polygraph tester come into our class and explain what polygraph was. And so man came in and showed us this magic box, and then he asked for a volunteer, and my friend stepped up and took the seat, and the administrator hooked him all up, everything else, and sat down, asked to turn on the unit, made a couple little calibrations, and then he started asking him test questions. And then he says, okay, we're going to begin. And he asked him some outright questions. The class was quiet as a mouse. Very interesting going on. The principal was there too. I think a couple other teachers stood in too to watch. And I remember them asking him, or he asked him, I'm going to ask 3 questions and I want you just to think the answers. Don't think them out loud. And I want you to think the answers in yes or no. And so this gentleman asked the questions, and the student sat there and he thought the answers, yes or no. Then there was a few more verbals, and the tuss was over. And the administrator looked at it, showed us the strip, showed where he had made these little indentations on it with his pen and so forth. And he says that this man was quite accomplished. He was in his 50s, the polygraph administrator. And on there he made the declaration that this young man had passed the polygraph with flying colors. And we're all looking around, and our student's looking around with a big smile, okay? Well, how would he know if he doesn't know that? How would he know if he passed this with flying colors or not? You know, and so forth, you know, and if he said, you know, do you like the color blue? And the student answers yes, and he doesn't, he likes red. You know, I guess that shows up. And so he did ask him if he loved his mother, and he answered yes. And so we know that he loved his mother. We knew that anyway, but it was very, very cool. I learned to do everything that you possibly can in life, not to have to be sitting in a seat like that and hooked up to one of those. And one day, it was either later, I think it was later in November of 2014, I had to sit in a seat and take a polygraph 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And I too passed it with flying colors. And I don't want to ever sit in a seat like that again. Of course, it may have helped. A couple days before, I read a smart book about galvanic skin response. I didn't understand a thing it said. I was thinking, oh boy, okay, whatever all this is, it is beyond my pay grade. So we're just go in there and sit down and be natural. Pass it with flying colors. And I didn't lie. Okay, we'll end this little video here today. A couple beautiful blossoms here in the park. Thanks again for coming along and watching. Listen to me ramble on about bank bags and polygraphs. Big old serpentine vines. Pretty creepy. Been around longer than I have. Longer than you too. Hopefully they'll still be around somewhere. That being said, we'll see you in the next one. All my new viewers to this channel, welcome. Stay tuned and stay safe.